Okay, I think we are ready to begin. Good morning, everyone. Fourth day of Ignite. So welcome to this very long title presentation, the unification of experience across all clients for Dynamics 365 for sales and service. Marketing could not find a longer name, so we'll stay with that. So you'll hear me talking about the unified infrastructure, UCI. All these terms means exactly the same. The official name is the unified infrastructure. I'm Oren Ringler. I'm heading the UX team for Dynamics 365 for customer engagement. I'm also heading the PM for sales productivity and office integration and relationship insights. But today, I'll talk about the UX part of the new client. With me is Linda. Linda is heading the PM team for the unified infrastructure. So how many of you are using or have experience with the current Dynamics 365 for sales or service? Great. So you are at the right place. How many of you had experience with UCI, with the unified infrastructure, downloaded the preview, saw it in any way? Okay, some of you, that's good. How many of you don't have any idea what I'm talking about? Okay, a couple, that's good. We love you as well. Stay, we'll entertain you. So on the fourth day of Ignite, thank you for coming here. It's a weird room. I'll have to somehow talk to both sides. And there are, on the fourth day, I don't know if you know, there are two very exciting things today for you, right? The first is we have the party. Are you ready for the party? No, you're not. Are you ready for the party? So we'll give you free tickets at the end for tonight only for Universal Studios if you stay for the entire show today. But the most exciting thing today is actually our presentation. So the unified infrastructure is a real wow presentation. You'll be amazed by the new work that we are doing on the new UX part. Now we'll measure. Some of the things we'll talk will be coming very soon, some of them a little bit more futuristic. We'll measure your clapping. If you're clapping, every time you see something that you like, you need to clap. If you don't, we'll remove it from the release. So this is how we'll test that. We have someone sitting at the end of the corridor. He is measuring that, so you need to be really loud. So everybody in the other rooms will say, wow, this session is the killer session of the day. So let's start. So before we actually talk about the future, let's look a little bit back in time, right? So we are looking at the current experience. We have the web experience and we have the mobile experience across tablet and mobile. We call it MoCA. Some of you are familiar with that name. And yeah, for many years we have that. It's an excellent experience, but we got a lot of feedbacks, right? So we got feedback around wrapping and fading of the text, misalignment of stuff, edit issues. It's very not intuitive actually to see some of the edits and all this stuff. A lot of feedback that are coming from you guys. And we actually worked through that and created what we called the web refresh. So web refresh is now in preview. How many of you have seen the web refresh and tried that? Good. So I encourage all of you to actually go and look at the new web refresh. The web refresh is actually trying to address all these issues on web. So you can see that we solved actually all the borders around the containers, all the color themes, all the styling. So there's a lot of details, right? From the UX perspective, we are looking at all these details, which are very boring. But at the end of the day, when you look at the overall experience of the web, it's now cleaner. You see the separation, the grouping of information. You can actually see the business process, the cards that you see on the right, a much better experience. Again, mainly based on all the feedback that you provided us. So we'll start actually by seeing the different screens. We'll see a demo by Linda. So we'll see here the dashboard. Again, new design for the dashboard. You can see the cards at the right bottom of the screen. You can see that actually the grid is now much more aligned. The information looks much better in that perspective. We even fixed all the notification. They look clear, different colors, business process. Again, nicer and cleaner from that design perspective. So that's the web refresh. Let's see a quick demo of that. Linda.
So here you can see the dashboard when you initially come in, and we have cleaned up a lot of the spacing between the different components on the dashboard. You can see everything is themed orange because I have this obsession with the color orange. Here on the dashboard, I'm just pointing this out so that we can really take a deeper dive and take a look at the differences when we get to this later on what's happening with the new UI. But when we're looking at a grid, for example, you have to scroll right to see all this data, which is fine. You have all the data available on the screen. If I drill into an opportunity, we'll go into this bungee cord order and take a look. You can see all the things that Oren had pointed out. We've tightened up the screen a lot. And really, that was the biggest piece of feedback that we got from all of our customers and users, is that there was too much white space. So we really tried to pull everything in so that you get more information density on the screen. So trying to make the most of the real estate that is available. So everything should look very familiar. We didn't change too much as far as the navigation or anything like that. This is really just improving the usability of the screen, and you'll see still that the navigation is very much the same. You can still get to your entities and navigate the same that you did before. It just looks a lot better.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks.
So that's the web refresh. Now, when we look at the web refresh, much better, right? A much better experience, but still a little bit different than the mobile, right? So we see that we still have some inconsistencies between the different devices, right? And it's not just actually mobile experience and web, right? We have the ISH experience, right? How many of you are familiar with ISH? Okay, so ISH is dedicated to service, and there are some controls that are special for that, but again, it's a different client, it's a different experience. We have the Outlook app, another different experience, so we did a lot of work to actually optimize the UX of the new Outlook app that we released in January to be very much dedicated to one-click experience of tracking information, but then we created another client. So we have all this inconsistency and also mobile limitation, right? Not all the functionality, we heard that a lot from you, not all the functionality that you want in mobile exists there, right? You want to use your tablet, you want exactly the same functionality as the web, but it's not there. It's not accessible, right? Satya talked about the importance of accessibility in the keynote, right? We wanted to create it more accessible. Right to left, any right to left users? No, but since I'm from Israel, I'm traveling a lot to customers in Israel. They keep complaining, no right to left in mobile. Can you bring right to left to mobile, to Outlook app? What about actually making it a more intelligence? We see that we release more and more AI-driven experiences, relationship insights, some cool stuff. Can we actually bring a client that will support it natively, all the new intelligent stuff? And then we have, can we make it more modern and delight, right? Guys, it's 2017. Can it look more like a consumer kind of an experience? Can we make it even more productive than it is today? What about performance? How many of you are happy with the current mobile performance? Few, that's good. Okay. So we are trying to find and fight this guy. And it's a hard fight, I'm telling you. Our more smart devs are fighting this guy, and we are reducing substantially, actually, the time that thing we'll have to wait, and you'll see some improvement coming. And as we go in the next few weeks, as we release more and more, you'll see more and more improvement. And the reason is that we actually redesigned the entire client for that. Can we give a better ecosystem support for you to build actually new controls into that? So we had all these questions, although the web refresh. So we took all of that together and created the new unified infrastructure. It's a one modern, delightful, unified interface that is intuitive, intelligent, and adaptable, and helps sales and service team to work more naturally and more productively. So let's dive into that. So we started from this. We had the web refresh, and now we are going to release the new unified infrastructure. As you can see, it's a much more modern, much more exciting interface, trying to actually target all the issues that we discussed. So when we look at the new unified interface, there is a lot there. We actually took everything and redesigned it, not only from the UI perspective, also from the architecture layer to make it more performant and solve a lot of the issues that we had. So we cannot cover in 1 hour everything that we have there, but we will actually touch the highlights of everything that we want to actually show you why this is better. And we split that into 5 main sections. We are talking about how the unified interface is universal, not only by the fact that we are supporting now right to left, but also across all devices, accessible, how can it be more productive, more intelligent, more delightful, and more adaptable for the ecosystem and for some of you guys to actually extend that. So before I actually delve into that, I just want to give some reality check. We are not going to release everything in day 1. So you're going to see in the next actually few months, we are going to release parts of these capabilities. Although we designed and built everything together, we want to make sure that we get the right feedback and we release that step by step. So the phone and tablet experiences are now already in preview and will be released in a week or so to the market as the next version. Right after that, we will release the Outlook app based on the new unified infrastructure. So it will come next week to preview, and in few weeks, it will become GA as well. Later, in few months, we'll release the web experience for the unified infrastructure. Then we'll complete all the accessibility work. And after that, we'll actually also address all the administration experiences to make them accessible and work on the new unified client. So in the next year or so, starting next week, you will see the unified infrastructure starting to come to life, and you'll be able to use it, and most importantly, give us feedback. So let's go to our story. Let's double click on the first one and talk about universal. So the first, as I said before, the most exciting thing, it's one interface across web, tablet, phone, and the Outlook application, meaning that now we have a consistent functionality across all the surfaces. So no more different functionality on mobile and web or Outlook app or ISH. It's all one. A true develop once, deploy everywhere, right? Because we are using exactly the same client for all the different scenarios. Once you develop that, you don't need to do anything. It will adapt to all the different devices, to all the different clients, and work there. To actually achieve that, we designed it in a way that it's a responsive design. So you can see the same design adapt itself for the different sizes of the screen, for the different devices, but we are taking into account, as you will see, the unique characteristics of each device. So it's not just that we are changing the size of the screen, we are actually leveraging a unique of, if it's a mobile, you can use, of course, the camera and location. And if it's Outlook app, we are leveraging the context of Outlook. So you have the unique capabilities of each client, but you will see exactly the same experience. And when we designed that for a touch mobile-first design. And you will notice that when you see the different screens. So let's talk about the first one. What does it mean consistent? So we took all the functionality that we have on web, right? And you can start to see how exciting. I don't hear enough excitement about the new UI, but you can see how exciting is actually the new UI. And now exactly the same capabilities will be across the tablet. So you can see it's different, right? You have like a little bit different sizes of the screen, but the experience is exactly the same. The functionality is exactly the same, and the same for mobile. So you can access now in mobile and in tablet everything that you can access also on the web. There is no restrictions. Everything is there, including your own code that you extend the system will appear automatically across all the different devices. Another aspect for that is that now that we have everything on mobile, of course, we'll continue to support full offline and enterprise level security for that. Now, think about it in a way that we just didn't take only the web experience and extended it to mobile, but now that ISH is also based on the same client, there is no ISH anymore, right? It's becoming, all the controls are based on the same unified client. So all these unique, actually, controls that we had there are now part of the same platform, of the same unified infrastructure. So the cool, actually, dashboard that we had only in ISH can now be shown in sales, right? Because you can light it up in sales, you can light it up in service. It's a very cool bound dashboard that people love, and now it's accessible through all the different applications, also for the solution that you can actually write. Another good example is task-based experiences. It was a very cool, and we redesigned it as well, unique for mobile. And now, since we are using exactly the same client across everything, you can now access it also on the web. So task-based experiences now available also on the web, and by the way, also in Outlook app. So if you have a unique, actually, requirements to build something that TBX can help you in Outlook app, you can use it in Outlook app. And talking about the Outlook app, so the new very cool app that we released in January was well designed, but very, very restrictive, right? If you compare it to the old Outlook add-in, that you could do everything, here you could only do track, sync information, and all of that. Now that we are running the entire Outlook app on the unified infrastructure, you have the entire functionality of Dynamics 365 for sales and service inside Outlook. We don't recommend to really use everything there, because if you really want to delve into more information, go into the bigger screen client. But if you are getting an email, in addition to tracking, you want to search for some information, you can actually use the global search inside the Outlook app, even the filters for the global search. You can even see dashboards. You can even actually edit the information. You can see forms, the same as you will see them on mobile, inside the Outlook app, edit the information, delve into more details, and even intelligence. So Relationship Assistant is now available also in the Outlook app. So again, building one, you'll keep hearing me saying that again and again, but having one unified infrastructure enables us to actually now bring all this functionality across everything. So how does it work? The way we design that is actually by having an adaptable, responsive design, again, optimized for each surface. So if we look, for example, on the web, you'll see that you have the navigation on the left. We'll talk about it in a second. You have the commands on the top. And because you have a lot of space, we enable you 3 columns of all the information. Now, if you open your tablet with exactly the same screen, tablet. If you open the tablet with exactly the same screen, you will see now that the navigation is actually going to the bottom, right? This is the more common mobile experience. You'll see that you can access the navigation from the bottom, and you can see the commands still at the top. And now there are only 2 actually columns of information in the screen. And if you go into mobile, again, same navigation as the tablet at the bottom, but now the commands will actually go, and you'll see, I don't know if you can see that, but the 3 dots. Let me use some technology here. So you can see the 3 dots here. Okay, almost. The screen is not aligned, but here. This will actually discover all the commands that you have there. And you'll see another thing. You'll see, for example, the summary fields that you have at the top in web and tablet. They don't have space in phone. So what will happen, they will actually become a card, which is part of the other cards of that form. And you don't need to do anything here, right? They are adapting automatically to the size of the screen. Another interesting thing is that what happens with lists, right? In web, you will see that you can actually have a list inside the form, and it can be long, so you can scroll. So you have a scroll inside a scroll because it's a big screen. What we did in tablet and mobile, we actually restricted that. So all these long lists are becoming restricted, and then there is a see more button, so you won't have this nested kind of experience of scrolling in mobile. If you click see more, it will open the list, and then you can scroll as long as the list will be. So all of that, we took care that the experience will be much better from that perspective. We also designed for touch first, so you'll see actually the touching points are bigger and are designed for your fingers. So you'll be able to see that across all the different clients, because you use that for sure on phone and tablet, but also on web you can use the touch view, and then it will be designed specifically for that. Right to left. So now native support for right to left for the unified infrastructure. Not only web, also tablet, phone. The Outlook app has now support for right to left natively, and there's a lot of users who are actually waiting for that capability. So that was about universal, how we use exactly the same actually client across all the devices, the unique adaptability, and all the functionality across everything. Let's double click on productivity. So when you look at in very high level, we have in a way 4 main areas of the app. We have the navigation and search, which is a type of navigation if you think about it. You have the dashboards, you have the grids come, and you have the forms. As you can see, we really redesigned all of these from the beginning. So we'll delve now to each one of them and see some example of the new UI. So I notice whenever I'm here, my clicker doesn't work, so don't take it personally, but I need to be here. So let's talk about navigation. So when you look at navigation, we have the quick navigation bar. You can see that on the left. What we realized is that a lot of more expert users don't want to open the sitemap all the time, right? They want quick access to the things that they know, to their favorites, to the opportunity list, to the contact list. So all the time, you can actually dock this quick navigation bar to the left and quickly access all that information. And of course, if you need more, you can actually click and get the full sitemap. And the new design is actually coming from the left, not from the top. And the reason is that we are aligning that to the overall design of Microsoft. If you look at Power BI, if you look at Azure, it's coming from the left. So it will come now on the left as well. Now, the same sitemap, the same full navigation is also accessible on mobile. So if you see here, you have the ability to switch apps, right? So you can go now, I'm at a specific app, and I can go and switch to an app coming from an ISV or from a different app coming from Microsoft. You can also see that I can switch between models and quickly access favorites and MRUs. In mobile, it will be at the bottom. And another thing, ignore the screen, but look at the navigation bar. We redesigned the navigation bar to have a back button, and the back button will always be there. So whenever you are in the app, you can now go back to the previous screen. People that already started to use the preview love that. We added also a home button. So if you are lost inside the application, the big application, and you want to go home, you can always go home. E.T. likes that feature. The one who laughs, I know your age. So, and of course, you can quickly access the search and the entire functionality from the nav bar. Now, relevant search, also accessible now across all devices, including mobile, as you saw in Outlook as well. And you have also ability to go to categorized search if you want to use the old way. And you have also the search filters, as you can see on the right. So that was regarding navigation and search, let's talk about the dashboards. So the dashboards, as you can see, are getting a much more exciting design. And as I said before, also the new bounded dashboard, the new ISH experience is now part of the dashboard that you can use for sales or for any app that you are developing. And it's also available in mobile, and the mobile design is quite amazing. Now let's look at the dashboard. The dashboard is designed also for touch. So let's say that I'm looking at my mobile device and I'm seeing one of the charts and it's too small and I actually want to pinch and zoom into the charts. I can now do that. So let me show it to you again. So I can actually pinch and see more details around that specific charts. Another example, if I'm seeing a chart and I want to see, okay, what does the orange part means, I can tap on that and get the touch tooltips that will give me all this information. So very intuitive way. And there's even more to that. You can even enlarge actually the size of the chart to take the entire screen of your mobile device, making the dashboard much more intuitive and useful on mobile devices. Another new control that we released is the ability to actually integrate charts and lists in the same control. So here, for example, you can see my activities. There is a summary, which is a visual summary of my activities. And then I can see the list itself that is, again, the same control as this. We are starting to also create new rich types of dashboards. Not all of these will be available next week, but a lot of them. And as we go, we will release more and more into the future and more new chart types as well. So let's talk about forms. These were dashboards. Now we'll switch to forms. So as I said before, now we have the entire functionality on the go. And when we look at the form navigation, we change the way it behaves. So you will see that now also again, on all devices, including mobile, including Outlook app, you will see the ability to actually switch between forms. It's at the top of the form. You can see that's chevron at the top. You will also be able to see that we created tabs. So we are actually back into the tabs. We discovered from research that if we want to successfully go into a better mobile experience, we need to actually return to the tabs, so no more long forms that you can scroll through, but now everything will automatically become tabs, and you have, like, for example, a summary tab, product tab, and always at the end there will be the related tab that includes all the related. So better navigation through tabs, and you will see also that we are using card layouts for quick views inside the form. Again, very nice designs around them, and enable you to see quick views and more information there. So let's continue the journey. Same experience on forms. So exactly, you can switch forms. You can have the quick tabs. You can have the card layouts. But there is a new guy here. You see the small 2 arrows. And why you see them here? So we brought the entire functionality into the small phone, and we said, this is cool. People want more functionality. But then, because there are so many tabs, you can get lost, right? Let's say I want to quickly access documents. Where do I need to start to scroll the tabs and then find there is related and then click on documents? So what we created is what we call a semantic zoom. When you click actually on those 2 arrows, you will actually discover the semantic zoom. The semantic zoom gives you a summary of all the areas that you have on that specific forms. So first it gives you a view of that, but then you can quickly navigate to anything that you need on that form. That's increased productivity amazingly on mobile devices. Now, as a note here, although this is a very exciting thing, we are now already designing the next generation of the semantic zoom that will also be intelligent. So in addition to just showing you that you can, what you have in the form and quickly navigate, it will show you which part have updated stuff that may interest you. So for example, if there is a new activity, I will be able to see a star and click on these two new activity and go directly there. So the semantic zoom will bring us to a much more productive way of using business application on a mobile device. There are so many features, huh? Record set navigation. Record set navigation is when you go into a form and you have actually a list and you want to go through all the different records. I want to go over all my opportunities. I want to go over my current top leads. Today, we have these arrows that you can run through, or you can go back to the grid and then back to the form, back to the grid and back to the form. And this is where actually the new record set navigation comes. You can open the record set navigation on any form and see actually the view of the grid that you just came from, and then you can quickly actually triage through all the different items, and they will appear immediately on the right. And I'm telling you, when you'll try that, performance is amazing. So as you click through that, the page will change almost immediately to the next one. What else? Business process. We redesigned the business process, again, across all the different devices, a much better view of that. You have nice UI. You can see immediately in which step you are. You can also see here on the left side, you can see for how long this step is now active. So you can see that immediately there. And if you want to open and see one of the steps, it doesn't now take a huge part of the screen and push everything down. It's actually a flyout that you have. This is one of the examples. You can enter information and you can do all that there. Now, if you are a heavy business process user, maybe you want to see it all the time. So we enable you this new functionality of pinning the business process flyout. And I'll show you it works on all devices, also on tablet, not on phone because it's too small, but on tablet and web. Here it's on web. It will be now pinned to the right side, and it will be open all the time. So the business process step that you are in will always appear on the right, and you can work with that as part of the form. And of course, you can unpin that as necessary. Activity timeline. We completely redesigned activity timeline. Activity timeline is a core functionality of what we have today in dashboards and forms. But there was many tabs. You could see notes in the different tabs and all of that. We consolidated everything into one timeline. So the timeline gives you a real, actually, view of all the interactions with the specific customer, with the specific opportunity, on the specific lead, and so on and so forth. So everything is there, much nicer, actionable UI for activities timelines. And we also have visual filters. So if you click on the font, for example, on the dots, it will enable me to show filters. And I can now visual filter to the activity timeline. So if I want to see only emails or only meetings, and I can see some statistics around that. If I really want to drill down, I'll see more filters. And that's another example of a new design paradigm that we are doing. We call it gradual exposure to complexity, right? We used to give you a click and then you get all the complexity right in your face. Now, to make it simpler, in some cases, you'll click, you'll see some more capabilities, you'll have to click more to see more capabilities, and again, a much modern experience from that perspective. So this is how the activity timeline look on mobile. And if your eyes are sharp, you'll see on the right side, I'll help you, another new functionality that we are bringing, which is what you missed, right? So when you see activity timeline can be very long, what if 2 days after, I'm looking at the same opportunity, can I get the highlights of what changed since I last viewed that activity timeline? So new redesigned activity timeline. We cannot talk about productivity without Office integration, which again, together with Dynamics 365 brings a lot of productivity capabilities. And as you know, we have integration of Office and Dynamics throughout all the different products of Office, from Outlook to OneNote to OneDrive to SharePoint to Skype to Excel and so on. All of that, of course, will come to the unified infrastructure. Here are 3 examples. The Outlook app we already discussed. Skype, so now you'll be able to see the presence. You'll see the contact card design inside Dynamics. You can see that in the middle. And on the right, you can see the new redesigned SharePoint document management integration. And these are examples. All the integration that we had is now redesigned into the unified infrastructure experience. So these were examples around how the unified infrastructure is actually bringing you a more productive environment with the new UI. Let's talk about intelligence. So in the recent year, you saw that we started to release for preview a lot of intelligence capability like the relationship insights or product recommendation or documents recommendation. And we discovered through that process is that, yeah, we can attach it to the existing clients, but it's not a native experience. So we wanted actually to take all the excitement and capabilities across, for example, relationship insights, and bring it as a native experience into the client. So let's view some example. Relationship Assistant. Relationship Assistants enable users to see what's important right now, right? Based on AI and other algorithms, it gives you smart cards which are actionable and give you all that information. What we did right now, we actually enable this natively as part of the unified infrastructure. So you'll always see on the right side of the screen the relationship assistant. It's very challenging to do what I'm doing right now because of the disalignment. And you can see it here as well. And you can see it on the dashboard, right? You'll see it on the right on web and tablet. You'll see it on the phone if you get to the right view. You can see it in a form as well, always on the right. And we also enable you to actually always access a global view of the relationship assistant. So whenever you want to know, what do I need to do right now as a salesperson, as a service person, you can actually use the relationship assistant to do that and get help. Another cool feature we released is relationship health or relationship analytics. And it's another example of how we embed intelligence into the app. And what you see right now, I think it's the first time that we are showing that. That's the new design that will come in the future for relationship analytics. You see that, you can see all the information there. You can see that we replace tables of contacts with actually faces of people. So if this the top contacts, you want to see them. It's very actionable. You see word information. The design is very clean for any intelligence that you want to show inside the app. Now, we saw, I don't know how many of you have seen relationship analytics, but one of the features that we did there on the old web as well is actually on the grids. We wanted to show this red, yellow, green signs. So it's not a boring grid, right? It's the ability to actually tell you something. There is a story behind each opportunity, behind each lead, and you want to actually capture that. So it took us very hard time to do it on the old web. What we're doing that now as part of the unified infrastructure is give you the ability for any grid to actually embed intelligence into the grid, and you can see stuff like trends or stuff like contact faces or time spent as a unique control. So you can embed custom controls into the grid and give a much more intelligent view into any grid that you have in the system. And let's take another example, documents recommendation. How many of you are familiar with the documents recommendation feature we released recently? Not many, okay. So I'll give you that as an example. Let's look at the old experience. So if you look at the old experience, that's the tablet experience, you went into a list of documents, right? So for a lead, for opportunity, for account, I can have all the documents that are associated there. And what we had is that actually at the bottom there is a line that tells you, hey, there are document recommendation. And you need to click to actually open this blue thing on the right that will show you all the documents. And then if you want to add one of the documents that is recommended by the system, by all the machine learning that we are applying there, you need to click on that and click another add, and then it will add to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks at least to add that. And this is an example of how we said, wait, if you are really have intelligence in the system and you are showing a grid, for example, with a list, and you want to recommend something, where do you want to see this recommendation? 5 clicks away or right in your face? And this is what we did. We created what we called grid recommendations. So now for any grid that you see, you can add the ability to actually see recommendation. Doc recommendation is something that's coming part of the product, but you can extend it to anything, and you will see this horizontal scroll at the bottom. Immediately when you see the grid, also on mobile, you will see the horizontal view of all the recommendation, and in one click, you can add it to the grid and see that. So this is a documents example, but think about the future. You'll have seeing a list of leads or a list of opportunities, and we'll tell you, hey, based on lead scoring, these are the top leads, and we'll recommend them as a nice view at the bottom, and you can start to take actions on them. As a note, you will see more and more as we go into the mobile experience, horizontal experiences of things that you can, because when you think about mobile, this horizontal scroll gives you a lot of ability to give recommendation and other information instead of trying to scroll only all the way down. So doc recommendation and grid recommendation is the first one. So that was around intelligence. Exciting? Yes? Because I can tell you that so far, there were no claps, so I'm moving everything that you saw. So now you'll go to the old web, and you'll have to live with that. So let's now talk about delightful. Now, I don't really think I need to talk about delightful. You saw the screen. They are delightful. They are modern. They are delightful. But since we wanted to make it even more cool, so we took some screenshots in different environments. So this is, again, you can see here the forms that we discussed. You can see here another way of dashboard that it's themed to a certain kind of reddish experience, tablet experience, and we went through all that. Mobile experience as well, a lot of cool designs, and we work very hard to actually give these cool designs. Another thing that we started to work on, and you will see it coming slowly, but you'll see them more and more, is actually what is called micro animations, right? So we have micro interactions, micro animations that give you feedback of what you are doing right now. So for example, you can see here an example. So the business process, when a user changes the status to the next actually step, the system will give him a visual feedback that, yeah, okay, we move to the next one. So this is one example, but we want to add more and more for 2 reasons. First, from productivity perspective, when the user gets an immediate feedback to what happens, the productivity goes higher. Second, it makes the app much more personal. If you look at your more consumer-grade experiences that you have in your apps, in your mobile device, sometimes you don't even notice this small animation that happens, but this is what happens when you feel more close into the app. You get this real feedback all the time. You click OK on something. Can you give you a small micro interaction to give you this feedback with a small animation? So you'll see it's coming more and more, and this is one example for that. So modern and delightful. And for the last part before we go to the demo, let's talk about adaptable. So first of all, one client across everything, so a true develop once, deploy everywhere. And we take care of all the adaptation that is needed across all of that. We have also the custom controls. Custom controls enable to actually create a rich visualization, extensibility of new visualization that you can create into the system. We'll talk about it more in depth tomorrow in the session that we have around mobile. We'll show you a demo of that. But this is something that we're starting to work and be released soon for you guys to extend the visualization as well. The application model across, again, all form factors. So yeah, we have all these big applications around sales and service and all these capabilities, but now with the application models, you can create specific mini applications targeted to what you need and remove the complexity or create a completely new application. And then, as you can see, I can access it through web, tablet, or phone through the navigation and get that experience there. Performance. Actually, if I had to choose only one feature from all these cool UIs, all these animations, it will be performance, right? When you think about the UX experience, the number one thing is actually performance. All the rest, yeah, we want that, it's cool. But if you have all this cool stuff, but it takes 30 seconds for a screen to load, 20 seconds or more for the app to load, nobody will get to the cool stuff. So we completely redesigned all the clients, and you will see amazing performance improvements. And this is just the beginning. We'll improve it more and more. We have very specific goals that we are trying to reach. So you'll see some example for when you open the mobile app. How many of you suffered from performance when they opened their mobile app? It's good that there's no video. Maybe 2 people just for the recording. Probably 2 or 3 people raise their hand. But, no, I'm joking more. But we are targeting, we are fighting that. We are putting the smartest people that we have to actually completely break the way the design works today. So it won't take, I don't want to say the seconds, but it won't take a lot of seconds, but will take only few seconds when you are doing that. Also, when you switch between forms, we are fighting that. You will see a huge improvement, and you will see as we release in the next few weeks more and more updates, the performance will get better and better. So yeah, performance is the top one that we are targeting. And another amazing thing is that we get a lot of questions around that. So what do I need to do to upgrade? Right? It's probably very hard. We heard about your competition. It's not so easy to upgrade to the new UI. Seamless upgrade. So one day, when your users will open that, all the new screens will appear. You don't need to do anything unless you use something which is not supported by us. But if you use only supported extensibility, everything will work automatically. You don't need to do anything. We'll light up for the entire experience, not only for parts of it. Everything will light up with the new design. Nothing to do on the admin perspective. So yeah, that's exciting. I don't know if you know, if you compare it to others companies, I don't want to name names, but it's not so easy when you look at how they do that. So a lot of slides, a lot of features, a lot of cool stuff. Let's see now a demo. Linda, unified interface.
Thank you, Oren.
You got the hard point, right? You need now to prove everything I'm saying is true.
Yeah, I feel like Vanna
Let's
White.
take a break, right?
I have to like unveil the new thing. So I'm going to start with what I showed you last time. So this is 8. And last time we took a look at the web refresh. And I just wanted to point out the web refresh again to you so that we can kind of remember what it looks like. Because the mobile client that I'm about to show you is actually on the same exact server. So all of the information that you'll see on the screen is the same thing that I'm going to show you on mobile. I have 3 devices with me today, so I'm going to show you the Windows tablet. I have an iPad, and I have my own personal iPhone. And we also support Android devices in this release, so it'll work on Android tablet and Android phone. So as you can see, we're on the dashboard, and we have my activities, my open opportunities, my open leads. You can see all the information on the screen. So I'm going to open up Dynamics. I think it was open, but it's not now. So it's logging in right now. Oops. Sorry about that. So you'll get to see it sync.
Going to prove that it's a real demo, so.
Okay, so while this is syncing, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's loading up.
So
that was pretty fast.
Fast.
So you
guys, just to make clear, Linda haven't slept all night yesterday because of this part, so the clapping needs to be a little bit more exciting than that.
Thankfully, we have our own demo Wi-Fi in here, so it helps to have a dedicated Wi-Fi. So this is the dashboard. If you remember, we had 3 sections on it. There was my activities, my open opportunities, and my open leads. And you can see it looks a little different. There is the what we'll call the list view. So the grid is no longer there, but we've adapted it to the size. So it has a touch target for it. I'm touching the screen right now. We have all of the commanding that was available on the web is still here. Nothing went away. I can also turn on a selection here and start selecting items and even execute some commands on those items. This is something that you probably, I thought I turned that off. This is something that's really great because you don't lose any of that functionality when you're going to the tablet. Now, if I wanted to look at a different view, I can also switch here and go to all activities. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry. My activities, my closed activities. So you can swap between, I don't know what's happening here. We'll stay on my activities. You can swap between the different views, and then you can also scroll down to take a look at different things. One of the things that Oren had pointed out is that we have this see more capability. So I can zoom in on a graph that's really hard to read if it's really small. And we can also, I'm pinching on the screen right now, and it's allowing me to zoom. And that is something that I'm actually going to demo better on the iPad. This will go back and go back into its place. So this is a dashboard. I can also switch between dashboards here. And I also have this new navigation. So this is our sitemap. And from the sitemap, I can get to any of the other views or entities that I have access to. I can also see the last accessed records. So if I tap on that, I can see the last things that I had opened, the last opportunities I had seen. There's also, down in the lower left-hand corner, we have a favorites. And I can also see the other things that I've opened recently. And from here, I can pin these so that I can always get to them quickly. At the very top, in the left-hand corner, you'll see something that says Sales Hub. And we talked about app modules. App modules just came out in the last release. And what that allows you to do is carve out certain entities as a specific experience. If I tap on this, it's going to take me to my app module selector screen, or the app launcher. And here you see we have 2 app modules. I have the Customer Service Hub and the Sales Hub. So I have the ability to swap different app modules on the fly. So I could go over into the Customer Service Hub right now. It's going to start syncing that data down and start loading the dashboard, and I'm in. I can also go back and go back into the Sales Hub. Same experience. Back over in the sales. So this is a really great way to make other experiences and app modules, and as we get an ecosystem, people can create app modules and publish them, and you can start using specific use cases. So for example, the Sales Hub or the Customer Service Hub. So back to my sitemap. In the sitemap, we have down at the bottom, if you remember in the legacy experience, I'll go back over really quickly to show what I'm talking about. At the top here, we had the ability before that you could swap between sales, service, marketing, all of these things. I don't know, what is the proper name for that? What do we call these? Sections of the sales tiles. Thank you.
Nice, lovely, colorful tiles at the top.
Colorful tiles at the top. Well, they're not colorful anymore. You can still get to them down at the bottom. So I'm in the sales one right now. So one of the things about here is really great is I can tap on accounts, and this will take me to the account view. So I'm in the account view right now. I'm looking at all accounts. And I can swap that view right now if I wanted to and take a look at the other queries that I've set up. And I can drill into a record. So I'm going to take a look at AdventureWorks. And in AdventureWorks, it starts loading the form. This form is the same exact layout as you had online. So nothing has changed. There's not a lot of training here. A user should easily be able to use the mobile experience. There's nothing completely different that you really have to walk them through. There's some added benefits in the navigation, but we're not ripping and replacing a brand new UI. This is really a familiar kind of upgrade for a user. Up in the left-hand corner, Oren talked about the record set navigation. Because I came from a view, I see all the records that I just navigated from. I don't have to go back to that view to navigate to the next record. I can skip down and take a look at a completely different record. And as Oren pointed out, it loads very quickly, and I can still jump around to other records easily. So I'm going to close that record set navigation. Now, one thing I want to point out, because I'm using the Windows tablet, I get a 3-column layout. And this is adaptive, so it's going to reflow if I end up on a smaller viewport. So I'm going to go over to the phone right now. There we go. So I'm on the same dashboard we were on before. And you can see my activities is the first thing that we're looking at. And I can scroll down. We also have on the phone a jump bar. And I can quickly filter out these things based on the record letter. I can scroll down through the dashboard and take a look at all of the different fields. I'm going to go back to that account view and take a look at what's here and go back into AdventureWorks. As that's loading. One great feature is there is a back button. I think something might have happened to my connectivity. All right, I'm going to go back over to tablet. So while this is, hopefully I have a connection. Sorry about that. While that's fixing itself, I'm going to keep going through the different features that we had talked about. So we talked about tabs. So we have different tabs here. I can start navigating through. This helps hide some of the information on the screen so that we don't have too much. If you want to have some things a little more buried but not inaccessible, we don't limit you. So in the past, you may remember in Mocha, we only limited to so many different screens that you could page through. There is no limit now. Everything that you had on web is available down on mobile. We also have access to all the related entities. I can choose opportunities. Now when I do this, you're going to see a new tab appear called Opportunities. So the Related tab is going to promote that tab temporarily to the top. So I can still get to Opportunities, and I can also navigate to another related record. And it's going to swap that tab now to Cases. So it went from Opportunities to Cases. And this is really a great way to not have too many tabs. It's not too much information at the top, but you still have access to that information. And I see what happened. I lost connectivity on my phone. So I am going to go over to iPad right now. And show you the same thing. So on iPad, you can see there's a 2-column layout. We had 3-column layout on Windows. And the reason for that is because it adapted to the viewport. There's a break point for how far that each of those columns can be. And now on iPad, we have a different size available, so it defaults to a 2-column layout. It's the same exact form that you saw on the Windows machine. The differences with iPad versus Windows is if you're using the Windows tablet, you can upload files, you can use your Excel templates, you can download things, you can upload things. You cannot do that on the iPad just because it's a different platform, so we don't have that capability. We also have before, the task-based experiences, these are available again. And as we eventually get to the web format, you'll have task-based experience available there too. From the ... over here on the bottom tray, we have access to Relationship Assistant. We also have access to the Quick Create menu, where I can create any new record quickly on the fly. And we have access to all of the other settings and user information. Let's take a look at an opportunity. So from the opportunity form, we have a business process flow. And as Oren pointed out, we now have docking. So if I open up a business process, you can see it takes on the theming. And remember, I said I liked orange a lot. I chose the colors orange and green. Orange is the main color and green is the accent color. And this is something that you can do in the theming very easily. And here we have the business process flow docked. So this is really helpful if you still want to scroll through your form, or if you have a lot of data that needs to be filled out in the business process flow. And I can always undock that and it goes back to its normal state. At the top, we have commanding. And again, you don't lose anything going from web to mobile. And that was really one of the main drivers behind this project, to really unify that experience so you don't lose anything when you go to mobile. People are using mobile more and more, and this gives them access to all of those commands. And I apologize, the phone for me is now syncing. Okay, this is 6. Okay, great. So here's the phone. And it is connected. So we're going to go back into an account. Great. Okay. So on the phone, because we have stacked all of the components on the screen, we have this new feature called the semantic zoom. And the semantic zoom lets you jump down to any part of the form because it is a long form. We wanted some fast navigation capability. So I can navigate down and jump to a related entity, for example. So now I'm on the associated grid for activities. So that is, that's pretty much it.
Great.
If there's any questions.
Yeah, we'll take questions at the end. Thank you very much, Linda. Exciting, right? It's even work. That's cool. So we had we didn't solve the fact that if you don't have connections and you don't use offline, it still works. We're working on that. But other than that, I think you can see the new, actually unified infrastructure, a completely redesigned experience, universal, more productive, built for intelligence, adaptable, and delightful, and amazing. So I wanted to go back actually to this slide to give you again, now that you saw all the content, to give you again, so we are going to release phone and tablet. It's already in preview. We are going to release that, I believe, next week. And then Outlook app will be released for preview as well next week. And then in a few weeks, it will become GA. And then in a few months, you'll see the web experience coming on the unified infrastructure, accessibility, and going into the future, again, still in the next year, all the admin experiences will come as well. So I wanted to give you, we don't have a lot of time, but I'll give you 5 minutes, some views about what we are working towards the future, just a glance view. And I want it to be unique for you guys who actually came and saw it. So just as a signal for the recording team, that's a good point to say goodbye and cut out the recording. So let's see how the future will look from here. So admin experience, we are redesigning completely all the admin experience. You can see some of the concepts, and again, everything that we talked in this presentation, looking forward, of course, can change, but you can see here actually not only that the setup itself will look now much more compelling, but also we are designing a dashboard for the admin so you can see everything there. Another interesting view to see, let's use technology again. So you'll see that on the setup, there are these small things that you can see here around. These are actually, think about it, when you go into a setup, and let's say that you, after the first setup, and something went wrong, you don't need to drill anymore. You can see it immediately that, hey, you have a server-side sync issues, and you will see it right there, and you'll know that you need to take care of that. Or, of course, you can use the admin dashboard. So we are going to redesign all of that. We're going to redesign all the designers. All the admin experience will also be based on a new design, unified infrastructure, and accessible as well. We also work very hard on the visual side. So I'll show you some exploration that will come. You see it's coming from the same direction of what we have today. We did a huge kind of thinking around the current design, but we already, in our design boards, we can see the future coming. You can see more images coming to our designs. You can see that some controls appearing in a nicer way in different places. These are some of the designs that we are exploring today. How many of you know the Customer Insights product, Dynamics Customer Insights? So if you saw the current experience, this is still in preview. We are working towards giving it a better view. That's still the sales designs that we are exploring today. Another one that we are exploring here. And this is actually Customer Insights, right? This is how we envision that in the future. Nicer designs. You can see on the left, you see the anchor, which is in this example of lead scoring. This is all the information, and then a very kind of consumer-grade almost experience for business on the right with all the information that you need. So the future looks very exciting. Also on the visual part, this is marketing segmentation, exploration, a lot of good stuff which is coming. So what's the call to action? Just notice there's a cool thing that whatever I say something, it's there, right? Is it automatic? Hello. It takes time. You see, our performance is better. Hello. It's a lot of bugs. Well, I didn't say is it open. OK, very cool. But our performance is even better than that. So call to action. Participate in all the previews. So a set of previews will come. We are releasing that. It's a huge effort. I don't know if you know, but to try and change the entire client of a huge product is not easy. So we are starting to release it to GA coming, but parts of that, and then previews will come. We need you to actually participate, be preview, be early adopter, and most importantly, provide feedback. I promise you an amazing experience, but I also promise you we made mistakes. I'm sure that not everything will work smooth from day one. So we need your feedback. We are testing everything, but we need you guys to give us feedback how we can improve that even to make it better. And the most important one, you need to evaluate this session. So you have all the information here, but we wanted to make it easy for you guys. So you open the app, and you just no need to read, just the top ones, right? So yeah, as much as it will be higher, features will come faster. No, joke. So we hope you enjoyed that session. We worked very hard to give you go through all the features as much as we could. The demo was really exciting. We'll take a Q&A now, but just to add, contact us, feedback, tell us, oh, this feature, it's exciting, we want more of this. Oh, this one doesn't make sense. Can you make it like that? Hey, by the way, your session was so exciting. We gave you 5, 5, 5. But you can also meet us at the expo. We are going to be there today from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Any questions on the unified infrastructure or any questions or Office integration, RI, recipe insights, anything that you want to ask us, we'll be there. There's also a session that Linda and Amit from her team will drive tomorrow regarding mobility for Dynamics 365. We'll demo there the custom controls and more demos specifically for mobile on the new unified infrastructure. So I think we have a couple of minutes. If there are any questions, please use the mics. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much. See you at the party tonight. Don't forget to evaluate, and you know how, right? Thanks. Yeah, Linda, do you want to join me for the questions?
Test.
Thank you.
Yes. I have 2 questions. I hope that's all right. You mentioned seamless upgrade for any existing orgs. But before, I participated in most of the previews in the last couple of years. There was a separation in the experience between creating an app module for the web and then the unified interface. There was a toggle switch you had to, are you designing for web or for the new unified experience? So now, is the web experience going away and are you upgrading all of them to unified?
That's a great question. So the reason why we had to have a separate flag for the UCI stuff is because it's going to mobile first. And so we had to have a way to differentiate the app modules which are only being released, because we didn't translate everything over to UCI yet. It's only the Mocha parity experience. So the Mocha parity entities have been translated to UCI, but we couldn't open it up for everything. So that's why there's that flag for now. But eventually everything's going to UCI.
All right. But if an org has some app modules now, outside of sales and service, do those eventually auto-upgrade, or does someone have to create new apps for that?
That's a great question. I'm going to have to follow up because I'm not sure what your app modules are.
All right. And then the other thing, something we found a little bit annoying, or rather our customers found annoying, even when you have app modules installed, if someone directly navigates to the CRM URL without the app module behind it, they'll just get the legacy experience all the time, even if you have the legacy app turned off in settings. Is that something that's going to change?
So you're trying to get to the UCI experience?
No, it's more like if you have some app modules installed, for example, sales and service, and then in the settings you turn off the legacy experience so that everyone, when they navigate to home.dynamics.com, they always only see the apps and not the legacy one.
Oh.
If they navigate directly to the URL, because they've bookmarked it, obviously, they'll still get the legacy experience and not the app module experience.
Got it. I'm going to have to follow up on that one.
I think I believe most of this happens because we are in transition, right? So the web experience is not yet GA, but once everything will move there, these will be solved. But we can follow up specifically. You can send us an email with that specific case. We'll see if it's a bug, but once we move completely, it will be solved.
Okay, thank you.
If you're on 8.2 now, is that the start of seamless upgrades, or will there be one more big upgrade before we can go in place?
Is 8.2 the latest?
Yeah, so what you will see, I think, in a week or so, it's the next release. So the update will be web refresh will come to web automatically. And all the Mocha experiences, what we used to call Mocha, so tablet and phone, will be replaced by the new unified infrastructure. Again, you don't need to do anything. Then we'll release at the same time the Outlook app, but it will be in preview. Probably a couple of weeks, and it will become GA. So the Outlook app will also be the new experience. And then when we release web, we don't have a specific date, but it will come in the next few months. Then the web will transform. So there is no, that's actually the next thing that will happen. So the next one, I think it's early next week, actually, is the next upgrade.
Okay, thank you.
Now notice that in the next upgrade, read very carefully, because of this movement, you may, for example, Outlook app, you will lose functionality for 2 weeks until we release that for GA, because you cannot use the old one on the new client. So, but again, anyway, upgrades will happen only in a few months. So you need to look into the details of how it works. So there will be some hiccup in the next few weeks, but everything will transition to that, and it will be an automatic, seamless update.
This is for sales and service. How will things happen with things like project services and the other app modules?
So, so they will eventually all be going over to the unified interface. Field service will be moving over to unified interface. For project service, that one I think is coming later.
Yeah, as well. So
But it's
once
coming
we will
sometime.
move everyone to the web, from the old web to the unified infrastructure, all of these should come. The exact dates, we don't publish them yet, but everyone is working toward moving it into the unified infrastructure. Now, for mobile experiences, we have the RESCO experience, and then it will take a little bit more time to actually make sure that you can either use that or move into the new unified infrastructure for field service.
The project services.
For project service, it will all move, once they switch, it will all move into the new experience.
So how will you handle things like in project services, for instance, the time and expenses? It's not a native CRM form. It's like a custom form.
So everything that was an old legacy control will need to be converted over to the new unified interface control framework. So they're working on that right now. So it will work with UCI.
Thanks.
Two questions, if I may. One on the field service side. When is the expectation of having full service or full functionality for field service mobile app?
So we are working on that. We cannot say a specific date, but it's not far into the future. But I cannot tell you a specific date.
2 years, 1 year, not even.
Yeah. You should follow up. Come to the expo, the field. The guys who are coding, or the PMs at least, are there.
They're here. Yeah.
They will give you maybe a more kind of a clue. We are not allowed to say specific dates, but it's coming.
Second question is in D365 operations finance modules. There's a task guideline feature that's a very, very functional, very rich feature. Do you have expectation of implementing anything like that to create consistency of the user experience across?
So that's
the
a
Dynamics?
very good question. So now that Dynamics 365 for the last year or so, it's one organization, we are looking into merging everything and be more consistent. It will take time, but you'll see more experiences that you like here coming here and vice versa. The teams are working to align there. So yeah, we are looking, this is one example that we are looking at. You'll see it coming, but these are taking time because there are still kind of different platforms that are running on both of them.
I can get one vote on that. That's a pretty
Yeah.
rich feature, and it sure
And
does.
I encourage you to actually go and vote for feature. And we look into that very seriously, so that is a good input for us, or send us an email. But this specific one, we are definitely looking
At a
into that.
CIO, CTO level, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It's real helpful.
Makes sense. Yeah.
How does this change affect any of our custom JavaScript that we've added to the current forms on the legacy web interface?
It depends. So we do have a client API that's being released with this for calling between the different components on the screen. It depends on what you're doing with JavaScript, honestly. So we'll probably have to take a deeper look at, what you're doing and what your upgrade will look like and what will happen.
Okay, for the most part, we've tried to follow the standard objects that are published in the APIs, in the SDKs. So is that, as long as we're following
As
those
long as we're
As
guidelines?
long as
you
you follow,
should
and
be.
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but as long as you follow, I think the transition should be
Yeah.
seamless. If you are not following, then the issues will start
Yes.
to pop up. And
Right.
it depends. So you say mostly is kind of a dangerous word. If it was completely followed, it will be okay. If there are parts that are not followed, then we'll have to look into that and see what are the gaps.
Okay.
UCI API will have, it's based on the page API as well. They've changed some of the namespaces around a bit, and we'll try to handle that for you in upgrade. The forms engines will be there as well. So if there is a need for you to transition to a namespace inside your space that you can't handle, you'll have the opportunity to do it as part of that transition. But there's parity between the two APIs.
Okay.
That's the science.
And then my second question is, are there guidelines for third-party applications and add-ons that we've added on? For example, Click Dimensions. Are they going to have to upgrade their service first before we can upgrade, or is it just going to be more of a seamless upgrade there?
So that, again, we can chat afterwards, but I can go through that with you, how that's working with the ISVs.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So Matt will follow up. I think it depends. That's the high level, and then you can follow up on specific questions with Matt. He's the right guy, so he will be here. You can come up, but it depends on any specific which ISV and what exactly they did and all of that. Okay, more questions? Thank you very much again. We'll be at the expo. Send us emails. We hope you enjoy that. See you later. Thank you.